In this last video for Unit 1, Lesson Set 3, we're going to explore budgets and line graphs. And a line graph is a type of graph or data display that is used to show changes over time on a coordinate graph. So in this example, Kate has spent more than her budgeted amount for her cell phone bill. So she decides to track her daily usage to see if she should change plans. So she went online to her cell phone company and got the usage data for the last 3 weeks. Construct a multiple line graph to identify any of Kate's usage trends. So when we're going to graph this, the first thing we want to do is, of course, label our graph, which is minutes used by days of the week. We want to label our axis. So on the Y, we're going to use the minutes used, and on the bottom will be the days of the week because we're doing minutes used by days of the week. Now, if we look at the data ranges anywhere from 13 minutes, 12 minutes, all the way up to 40 minutes. So I decided to go by fives on my graph. And what I did is on the top, I created a legend. So for week 1, I used red and a dashed line. For week 2, I did a small dashed line in green. And for week 3, I did a long, short dashed line in blue. So when I graph, I'm going to go to week 1 and I'm going to graph each point, and then I'm going to connect them together for the line. So if you look at the graph I drew, for Monday, I approximated 18, Tuesday 17, Wednesday 12, Thursday 19, Friday 24, Saturday 35, and Sunday 30. And then I connected the lines. Now, if you use color, it's a lot easier to follow the lines and see the difference. One thing you'll notice is that most of the trends for Kate for each week is about the same. You can look at this and see that Kate appears to use more data on the weekends, Friday through Sunday. She uses less data Monday through Thursday. So maybe what she needs to do is look and see if she can find a plan that maybe has unlimited minutes on the weekends to help her out. But as you can clearly see by graphing the lines, it helps us to notice a trend of low usage at the beginning of the week, picking up to the highest point on Friday, and then coming down on Saturday and Sunday, but still higher than what she does Monday through Thursday. So let's examine this line graph. It's the electric usage in kilowatt hours. And this is Claire's usage for the first 6 months of last year. So on the bottom of the graph, it is done by monthly amounts. Her company uses this data to calculate her monthly budget for electricity. And what they do is they find the average of monthly costs. Now, if the electricity costs 0.15714 per kilowatt hour, how much is her monthly electric budget going to be? And we are supposed to round our answer to the nearest dollar. So once again, to find an average, what we have to do is average out the amount that is spent each month. So for example, if we look to January, that dot is at about 800. February is at 900. March is at 900. April is 600. May is 400. And June is 600. So to find the average, we would add all of those monthly totals together and divide by 6 since it covers a 6-month period. That would give us an average that she spends of approximately $700 a month. Now, to figure out the cost, that's simply taking what the company charges per kilowatt hour and multiplying it times her average usage. And that gives us a result of 109.998. So if we are rounding up to the nearest dollar, we look at the first digit after the decimal, which is 9. So that tells us to round up the 9. That means she will be paying $110 per month. In the last example, we're going to use a line graph to create a budget line. So Beth loves coffee, and in her budget she has a section specifically for coffees. She has budgeted $90 per month to spend on the coffee she buys in 2 different locations. She goes to the Gas Mart for a cup of coffee that costs $1, and the Perfect Coffee Company charges $3. So she has to try and balance out throughout the month which place and how much she wants to buy at each place she goes. So we are going to construct a budget line that shows the different combinations of the 2 types of coffee that she purchases, with options that allow her to stay within budget. And then after we figure this out, we want to see what happens if she has to decrease her coffee budget by 20%. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify variables. So C sub X, that is going to be the cost of Gas Mart coffee. Okay, so the Gas Mart coffee is going to be represented by the variable X. CY is going to be the Perfect Coffee Company. So the Perfect Coffee Company is going to be represented by Y, and B is going to be for the budget. The next thing we want to figure out is how much does each cup of coffee cost, and write the variables. So C sub X, since we see Gas Mart coffee is $1 each cup, it's going to be 1x to represent $1 for each cup she buys. C sub Y, for the Perfect Coffee Company, their coffee is $3 per cup. So we would use 3y to represent the Perfect Coffee Company. And we were told that our budget is $90 per month. So when we figure out what she's buying, we know that you're going to have to add the Gas Mart coffee plus the Perfect Coffee, and together it has to equal $90 or less. So to create our line, we're going to write our equation out of 1x is the same as x, so we just wrote x there, plus 3y has to equal 90 or less. And then we are going to take and convert that into slope-intercept form by subtracting the x and then dividing everything by 3, and we end up with the line y equals negative 1/3 x plus 30. Now, if you remember from algebra and geometry, the number by the variable is our slope, and the number after the plus sign is our y-intercept. So drawing the line, I started out 30, and I used my slope to go down. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this graph is the bottom is going up by tens, but the side is going up by fives. So when I go down 1, I actually have to go down 10 because we're using the same measure as what's on the bottom. So I would go down 1 and over 3, go down 1 and over 3, and then I would draw my line to connect it. So as we look at this graph that we wrote, and of A, B, and C, we want to know which point is on budget, which one is in budget, and which one is out of budget. So if we look at on budget means that we spent the exact amount in both places to reach our budget of $90. So that means that for it to be on budget, our point has to be on the line. And if you look at A, B, and C, you can see that the letter B is on the line. That means, and we said X is gas mart, so the bottom would be the gas mart. And this would be our number of cups. Or how much we spent for the number of cups there. And on the right would be the perfect coffee. So for this one, we bought $60 worth of Gas Mart coffee, and we did 10 of the perfect coffee. Now, in budget, think about it. We said it has to be $90 or less. So that means to be in budget, it has to be below the line. Okay? So that means this is all in budget. So we look for which is below the line, which is point A. So point A is in budget, and we actually have a little bit of extra money left over. And that leaves C, which is out of budget. Okay, now let's explore a decrease of 20% in her budget. So first thing we need to do is figure out the amount of decrease. So that would be 90 times her budget of $90 times 20%. That means our budget is going down by $18. So we take the 90 and we subtract the 18, and we're left with $72. Now we need to determine what our new line is going to be. So we are going to repeat, creating a new equation using the x plus 3y, except for this time we're going to replace the 90 with 72. We're going to again convert our equation into slope-intercept form, and then we're going to graph our line. Now I want to compare this to our old budget. So I created a key where the old budget is this teal color in a solid line. The new budget is in purple with the dotted line. And when I graphed it, you can see the lines indeed show a decrease in our budget. In the last example, we want to use our coffee budget of $72, and we want to explore what happens if the price of coffee doubles at Gas Mart. And then we want to identify and graph the new lines. So the first thing I did was bring over the information from the previous example. So we're still using C of X for Gas Mart, C of Y for the Perfect Coffee Company. B was budget. Previously, C of X was 1X. C of Y was 3Y, and our budget was 72. So the first thing we need to do is double our Gas Mart. And our Gas Mart is in red, so that is the only one that is going to change. So instead of being 1X, we're going to double it, and C of X is going to become 2X. Rewrite our equation and find our new line. So our new line is going to be y equals negative 2/3 x plus 24. And we are going to graph it. And you can see that the amount of coffee we can buy drastically goes down.